All right, here we are, NAMM 2016, and we are here talking with Roger Linn about his, well, it was debuted last year, but there's been a lot of buzz on the internet about this new controller called Linnstrument, and let's find out a little bit about it from the man himself. Hey, Roger.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself? Day one?
Yeah, I'm not tired yet, but the show just opened, so we'll see.
We'll come see you on Sunday. Of course, we won't be shooting Sunday because that's it. But anyway, tell us a little bit about the instrument here, and then we'll talk a little bit about how it came to be and such. So,
well, it's what I call it is an expressive replacement for the standard MIDI keyboard controller. It's a MIDI controller. It makes no sound. It just puts out MIDI information. But the problem with the standard piano keyboard MIDI controller is that it's just a bunch of on-off switches. So it immediately rules out all those instrumental sounds like the violin or the cello or any wind instruments that change over time. And the way I do that is by sensing 3 dimensions of finger movement. And let me just set this to a violin, or viola actually. So what I have here is I have the control of pressure, I have pitch, and I have timbre. And in this case, this is the bow position.
let me ask you really quickly. It looks like there are small squares.
Yeah.
So, is there any pitch difference as far as like on the violin? Obviously, you're able to slide between notes quite easily. So the front of the pad is a little bit higher in pitch and back, or
well,
does
yeah,
that work that way?
basically it's like on a violin neck.
Right.
You just wiggle the finger, but this has the advantage of number one, the notes are the size of the human fingers. Instead of on a violin, they're little tiny up the top of the neck,
yeah.
or any other instrument. But the other thing is it corrects your pitch intelligently. So if I slide up to vibrato, it knows when I finish my vibrato, and it moves the pitch back into tune. And that allows me to do things like polyphonic chordal slides and such.
Let me get into a little bit of the beginning or the genesis of the instrument. You talked about how that acoustic instruments have that more organic feel, and the key is an on-off. When did you start thinking about building an alternate controller, and was this like a first, a second, a 100th incarnation? I mean, how did it evolve over time to make the Linnstrument to where you were happy with it?
Well, I saw there were a lot of alternate controllers through the 70s, interesting ones. Dott and Buchla made some interesting ones, but the guy that really knocked my socks off was Lippold Hawken with his Continuum over there. That was the first multi-dimensional polyphonic expressive instrument, and it's a marvelous instrument today, and you should check that out next.
I will.
But currently there are only 5 instruments which are polyphonic multi-dimensional instruments. There's the Linnstrument, there's the Continuum, there's the Rolly Seaboard, there's the Eigenlabs Eigenharp, and the Modrono Lab Soundplane, and those are the only ones. So it's kind of a different category than what you normally call alternate controllers. What we call them is polyphonic expressive controllers, and that means that these are all controllers that recognize 3 dimensions of your finger movement, which are the maximum number of dimensions you can have in this particular universe, but polyphonically, so you get 3 independent movements for each touch, and it allows you to do marvelous things.
Well, I was going to say, I'm assuming with this instrument you can change scale types for the pads, or can you do that, or like perfect pitch?
No, the trouble with it is let's say you're trying to play guitar, and every song you change the tuning of where the notes are. It's not going to allow you to develop any skills, right? The other thing too is that if I have every note being a different note on a different scale, then how can I do this? It wouldn't be linear. So instead, what I do is an idea that I borrowed from the piano. I have every note represented, and then I just put the lights on where the white keys are.
red is actually an octave from where you happen to be, correct?
No, that's a different thing. What I was referring to is the fact that the lights that are on right now are representative of the white keys.
Right.
So I can do a scale. The red just tells you, and you can turn that off, where the same note exists on other strings, just like on a guitar.
Oh, I got it.
Here's a C, here's the same C,
got it.
here's the same C.
Got it.
So it acts as a clue if
And the
you're
blues
doing
are octaves.
Oh, the blue is is the C within each octave, and then the rest of the notes are the other natural notes.
Wow, fantastic. Well, I tell you what, this has obviously been released. How quickly are these moving out? Or
I've sold about 560 so far in the past year.
Is there anybody prominently using them that we can point to for people?
There are
to
people
see?
prominently using them, but there are a few prominent people using them.
Well, you're one prominent person that is actually using it.
I am.
Because I see there's a lot of video that you can see on Roger's website, and your website. Why don't you go ahead and say what that is?
It's just RogerLinnDesign.com.
It's RogerLinnDesign.com. So,
would you like to hear any other sounds?
Sure, let's hear some sounds.
Here's some pedal steel guitar. Here's a blues slide guitar. Here's one last one I'll do, which is drums.
Now, did you change some sort of mapping on there? Is that what you just did, or?
Yeah, just sort of the MIDI settings.
So some of our beatboxers out there can actually be using this as well.
This is actually the best drum machine on the market.
Is it?
Every other drum machine is one dimension. This is 3 dimensions and polyphonically 3 dimensions. You can't do that on any other drum machine.
That is pretty amazing. Do that again. I want to see that one more time.
See, I've got, this is just a snare drum. It's using the built-in arpeggiator with half swing. So I've got pitch.
And as you push harder, are you getting like different dynamic on the?
Yes. What it's doing is it's changing the velocity of the notes that are being sent out. So I've got, that's in the 1 dimension. Here's the other dimension. And then here's the third one, going from a natural
Those
sound.
are all snares right there, right?
What's that?
That was all snares.
That was all just snares, yeah.
Okay.
And then the third dimension changes from a normal sound to a velocity-controlled filter. And that's independent for all the drums. And then the last piece is, if I want to change the rate of arpeggiation,
wow. I was going to say, I think there's a whole new set of people out there that should be trying the Linnstrument.
the thing is that you don't really need all these different weird controllers. This does everything for all cases. So you don't need to have a separate drum machine controller. This is the best drum machine on the market.
Yeah.
This is the best violin machine on the market. It's the best saxophone machine on the market. The best guitar machine on the market. You really don't need anything else.
So what's retail on this? And it's obviously available in most stores, or
The street price is $1,500, and you can buy it either direct from our website or at a variety of stores, which are listed on the website also.
Now, is this a piece of software that comes with it, or is that just, I can't see what it is?
It's running Logic.
Oh, it's just
all this
Logic.
is a MIDI controller. It makes no sounds.
Okay.
So you use
I
it
didn't know
with
for
any,
performance
use it
or-
with every single MIDI software you already own on the planet.
Awesome.
It just puts out vanilla MIDI. However, some are better than others. For example, Logic, Cubase, Bitwig. Oh, by the way, it comes with a free copy of Bitwig 8-track. But all those there's a long list on our site of ones that have polyphonic expression, which means it sends each note over its own MIDI channel in rotation, and that gives each note the ability to have 3 dimensions of control simultaneously and continuously.
Well, Roger Linn, thank you, sir. I appreciate you taking time out to talk to us. Have a good show.
It's my pleasure.
Roger Linn Instruments, NAMM 2016.